Hey there everyone, and welcome back to another trip report. Today I'm headed home from London on WestJet's Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner. In case you missed it, I already tested out their economy class product on the overnight flight from Toronto to London. For today's flight, I splurged a little and pre-purchased a preferred economy class seat, which is located near the front of the economy cabin and has extra legroom. I've just arrived at the south terminal of Gatwick Airport and will be taking the People Mover over to the north terminal where my flight is departing from today. After arriving from Alicante yesterday, I spent the night at the Gatwick Courtyard Marriott, which is a walkable distance from the south terminal and a great place to rest if you happen to have an overnight connection or an early morning flight departing from Gatwick. The People Mover connects the north and south terminals prior to clearing security. It departs each terminal every 5 minutes during daytime hours with a 2 to 3 minute journey time between the terminals. The service frequency is reduced to every 10 minutes between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. Stepping off at the North Terminal, I'm headed to the WestJet check-in counters now. The North Terminal is home to WestJet, Air Transat, EasyJet, Emirates, Icelandair, Virgin Atlantic, and many other airlines. The departures area in the North Terminal is divided into 2 levels, with WestJet located on level 1 along with EasyJet. During peak summer season, WestJet operates service to Gatwick from Vancouver and Halifax in addition to year-round service from Toronto and Calgary. They also offer connection services with many low-cost European airlines to other destinations across Europe. The check-in area for WestJet has a priority section for status and business class travelers, with the check-in area for economy class travelers dominated by self-serve kiosks. I'm printing my boarding pass first at one of these kiosks, and if I was checking baggage on this flight, I would print the baggage tag here as well, and then take the bag over to the counter for drop-off. With my boarding pass printed, I'm now off to security screening. WestJet's check-in area was quite tame compared with the adjacent EasyJet check-in area, which looks like a nightmare. Gatwick is EasyJet's largest hub, so they serve a large number of cities across Europe from here, with many flights connecting to WestJet's transatlantic routes. After security screening, passengers are funneled through duty-free before entering the main departures area. This area has 2 levels of stores and restaurants with row seating down the middle. It's a fairly large common area, somewhat resembling the shopping mall-like structure of Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport. After a quick look at the departures board, my flight, WestJet Flight 4, has not yet been assigned a gate. It says gate assignment will be published in about 20 minutes, so until then I'll wander around to find some breakfast. Up on the second level of this area are mainly restaurants with a Pret-a-Manger, Jamie's Italian, Starbucks, Bar Burrito, Shake Shack, Wagamama, and a few others. After a quick bite from Starbucks, I'm headed back down to the main level and towards my gate. My flight has been assigned Gate 566 for today. First look at my aircraft for today, I'll be on this 1.2-year-old WestJet Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner, which was delivered to the airline in January of 2019. It's 9:41 right now, and my flight is scheduled to depart at 11:10 a.m. The gate area is in a secluded area below the main concourse, which is nice because there's less through traffic. I'm headed down there now. Boarding for this flight begins at 10:15 a.m. or in about 20 minutes, and the gate area is already quite full. It is quite a large seating area with more than enough seats for all the passengers. Boarding is now underway. WestJet boards their aircraft by zone, with Zone 1 for business class and status members, and the remaining zones assigned by seat row from the back of the aircraft to the front. I'll be boarding in Zone 4 today, which I believe is the last boarding zone. As I mentioned earlier, for this flight I pre-purchased a preferred economy class seat. Given that I'm traveling on a basic economy fare today, the cost of purchasing this seat is higher at $129 Canadian, while the cost of this seat for an econo fare is $94 Canadian. The first 6 rows of the economy cabin, or rows 9 through 14, are considered preferred seats. These seats feature an additional 4 inches of legroom over standard seats and are located near the front of the cabin for easy exit after arrival. Seats in rows 25 and 26 after the second bulkhead are also considered preferred seats. Stepping on board the aircraft, to the left is the premium economy cabin with the business class cabin ahead of that, and to the right is economy class. I'll be in seat 10K for this flight, which is the window seat on the right side of the aircraft. Row 10 is the second row of the economy class cabin, after the bulkhead separating the higher class cabins. At the seat when we boarded the aircraft, a pillow, blanket, and small bottle of water were provided. Now seated, you can clearly see just how much legroom I have. My backpack fits fairly well under the seat in front, and there's still tons of room for me to stretch out. Now, this may not mean much for my 5'9" self, but my neighbor is 6'4", and even he has tons of legroom to spare. Each seat is equipped with a large seatback entertainment screen, which we'll take a full tour of later in the flight. I'm also loving the view from my window, which looks out just ahead of the engine and the wing. The overhead bins on this aircraft are quite large, so there's lots of extra space for everyone's carry-on luggage. The ceilings are also quite high, which makes the whole cabin feel very spacious. With an announcement from the flight deck, the crew informed us that the expected flying time to Toronto today is 7 hours and 3 minutes, with some cold weather waiting for us in Toronto.
Weather in Toronto currently -5 degrees under clear skies.
Well, hello again from the flight deck, Captain speaking. A little bit of bad news we have from the air traffic control people. Because of strangely enough the French controller strike action, they gave us about a 45-minute delay, so we're going to sit...
After the cabin doors were closed and the safety video had finished playing, the captain announced that we would be delayed at the gate by 45 minutes due to the French air traffic control strike. During the delay, flight attendants served glasses of water, and after about 20 minutes of waiting, it was announced that the delay had been shortened and we would be pushing back shortly. So, almost 30 minutes after our scheduled departure time, we're now pushing back from the gate, the engines are starting up, and we're on our way. One of the great features of the 787 is how quiet the engines are, which is particularly noticeable, or unnoticeable I guess, during the takeoff roll. It's a very cloudy day in London as we climb away from Gatwick Airport.
Ladies and gentlemen, the caption is about the seatbelt sign on. Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened. We recommend you keep your seatbelt fastened anytime you are seated. We'd like to remind you that smoking, including the use of e-cigarettes and vaporizers, is prohibited at all times. For your convenience, washrooms are located throughout the cabin.
Looking around the seat area now, on the seat back in front near the floor is a pouch for storing any personal items, and just below the entertainment screen is a pocket that holds the provided reading materials. The tray table folds out from the seat back in front and can be used in either a half or full configuration. It's also mounted on rails so that it can slide outwards towards you. As for the seat itself, it's a fairly firm leather surface with an adjustable headrest that slides up and down to accommodate different heights, and also has folding sides for extra support. The width of the seat is 17.5 inches, which is about a half inch larger than the economy seats on Air Canada's 787-9. The seat also has a good amount of recline. About 30 minutes after takeoff, the cabin crew served complimentary beverages and a snack of cookies or pretzels. For drinks, complimentary wine was available, along with soft drinks, juices, and water. Now for a look at the reading materials provided at the seat. First we have the safety information card for the Boeing 787-9, along with an air sickness bag and the WestJet in-flight magazine. In the in-flight magazine are various articles as well as fleet information, route maps, and instructions for connecting to the in-flight Wi-Fi. And now for the seatback entertainment screen. As I mentioned in the review of my WestJet flight to London, I love how the system is centered around the flight destination with guides on what to do, where to eat, and generally nice background photos. This system is loaded with on-demand movies, TV shows, music, magazines, and games with plenty of content available. There's a designated kids content section as well. The overall graphics quality of the system is great, and I love how large the screen is as well, with great touch sensitivity. In the magazine section, you can view multiple issues of the WestJet in-flight magazine in addition to a variety of other publications. No physical menu for the in-flight service was handed out on this flight, but you can view the food and drink items available on the screen. There's also an About WestJet section with more details on the services they offer, their fleet, and their history as an airline. You can also find instructions here for accessing the WestJet Connect Wi-Fi service or using the available personal device streaming. For more on that, I decided to test out the service on my laptop. You can also access it using a tablet or smartphone, but you need to have the WestJet Connect app downloaded before takeoff. By joining the WestJet Connect network, I can view the on-demand content from the seatback entertainment screen on my personal device for free, as well as flight information and the in-flight maps. You can also view current news articles and live TV channels such as BBC and CNN as well. To use the general Wi-Fi connection for surfing or other purposes, you need to pay for access. On the bottom edge of the screen is a headphone port for connecting to the system audio, as well as a USB port for charging. The screen also rotates outwards to allow for different viewing angles. In the settings menu, you can change the system volume and brightness, as well as control the overhead reading light and the attendant call button. Below the seat row is another USB charging port, as well as an AC power outlet, with one available for every seat in economy class. The windows on the 787 Dreamliner are super large, which lets in tons of natural light, and instead of the usual pull-down window shades, these use an adjustable dimmer technology. This allows for 5 different levels of lighting. You can see here the difference between the fully closed and the partially open dimmer settings. Taking a walk around the cabin, the nearest restroom for my row is at the bulkhead 15 rows behind my seat, as the restroom at the bulkhead in front is for the higher cabins of service. About 2 hours into the flight now, and the cabin crew have begun serving the main meal of the flight. This is a hot meal service with options of shepherd's pie or vegetable korma. I opted for the vegetable korma, which was served with a packaged bread roll, a side of pasta salad, and a chocolate mousse for dessert. There was also a complimentary drink service along with the meal. Butter, salt, and pepper were also provided with the tray, along with a packet containing plastic cutlery and a serviette. The main meal was quite tasty, though not terribly visually appealing, and the dessert was delicious as well. With the meal trays cleared away and a little turbulence rocking the cabin, I'm settling in to do some work for the next few hours. There's lots of space for me to use a large laptop in the seat, with the tray table just large enough to hold it. We're now cruising just off the southern tip of Greenland, with just under 4 hours to go until arrival. The cabin crew came through serving glasses of water at a couple different points during the flight. With 2 hours and 30 minutes to go, the cabin lights are now coming back on. We're cruising over the east coast of Canada, and the cabin crew are serving a small snack box. The box contained a refreshing towelette, packet of Tic Tacs, a sandwich, and a brownie. The sandwich was a multi-seed bun with cheese, onion, and tomato. Drinks were also served along with the box. After the light meal, I worked for another hour as we neared Toronto.
day, not too bad actually, all things considered. Should have you in about 2:04, which is only a few minutes late.
The captain announced that we would soon be beginning our descent for Toronto Pearson Airport with an estimated arrival time of 2:04 p.m. We made up some time during the flight, so this arrival is only a few minutes after our initially scheduled arrival time.
I hope you've enjoyed the flight today, and thank you so much for joining us.
Before landing, the cabin crew handed out some hard maple candies, which I ate too quickly to take a video of. It certainly is looking snowy down there. We'll be landing on runway 24 left this afternoon and approaching the airport from the east.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Toronto. As we taxi to the gate, please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened and all carry-on baggage stowed until the aircraft.
Taxiing to the gate now, WestJet operates out of Terminal 3 at Toronto Pearson, so that's where we'll be parking this afternoon. A major perk of sitting in these preferred seats near the front of the economy cabin is that I was off the plane very quickly after arrival. The first step after deplaning here in Toronto is clearing Canadian customs and then onwards to baggage claim. After clearing Canadian customs, it was a quick exit as I had no baggage to collect in baggage claim today. Thanks for joining me on this trip. Now for a summary of today's events. One of my favorite things was how spacious these preferred seats are, with tons of extra legroom over the standard seats. The entertainment system at each seat was very user-friendly, with lots of available content and high graphics quality as well. I was pleasantly surprised that every economy seat had its own AC power outlet, where most airlines offer 2 outlets for every 3 seats. Things that stood out as being not so great were the delayed departure time from Gatwick, though there wasn't much that the crew could do about that, and also the firmness of the seat, which made it very difficult to get comfortable on the long 7-hour journey. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button below, and I'll see you next time.